Get ready for another Duel of Concepts special presentation. Tonight, we're discussing how your government is tracking you in ways you probably wouldn't imagine. Let's start by discussing about what information your government has on you, how they got it, and what you can do about it. There are three main databases that contain the most personal information about you. And this includes financial, criminal, educational, employment, travel, and medical history. And these databases are 1. The IRS database. 2. A domestic data warehouse. And 3. A national data warehouse. Each of these databases contains hundreds of terabytes of information. And this information was collected from tax returns, bank transactions, property deeds, passports, driver's licenses, cell phone records, credit card transactions, grocery store purchases, internet history, social media posts, and even medical bills. And this is just a fraction of the massive amount of data that the government has been collecting on you. So let's dive deeper into each of these three databases and see what kind of information is contained within them. The Internal Revenue Service, or IRS, has been tracking your financial activity for decades. They have a database containing every single transaction that you have ever made. This includes the date, time, amount, and both the buyer and seller of the product or service. And here's what they're tracking specifically. First, your income. Whether you're employed or self-employed, the IRS has records of your earnings. If you have ever filed a tax return, then the IRS knows exactly how much money you make per year. Second, your expenses. When you itemize your deductions on your tax return, the IRS can see exactly what you spend your money on. For example, if you donate to charity, then the IRS knows the name of the charity and the amount of your donation. If you buy a new car, then the IRS knows the make and model of the car and the dealership where you bought it from. And if you take a vacation, then the IRS knows where you went and how long you were gone. Third, your assets. If you own property, then the IRS has a record of its value. If you have investments in stocks, bonds, or mutual funds, then the IRS knows the value of your holdings. And if you have retirement accounts, then the IRS knows the balance in those accounts. Fourth, your debts. If you have a mortgage, then the IRS knows the balance of the loan. If you have student loans, then the IRS knows the amount of your monthly payments. And if you have credit card debt, then the IRS knows the interest rate that you're paying. Fifth, your tax credits. The IRS keeps track of all the tax credits that you're eligible for, such as the child tax credit or the earned income tax credit. Sixth, your tax payments. The IRS has a record of all the taxes that you've paid, including property taxes, sales taxes, and payroll taxes. And finally, your tax filing history. The IRS keeps track of when you file your tax return and whether or not you paid your taxes on time. But it's not just the IRS that is tracking your financial activity. Your government also has a domestic data warehouse that collects information on all of the products and services that you purchase. This database is called the Consumer Expenditure Survey, or CES. It's run by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and it tracks the spending habits of over 6,000 households each year. The CES collects data on everything that you buy, including groceries, clothing, transportation, and even entertainment. And it does this through a variety of methods. First, government agents may follow you around for several days and take note of everything that you buy. They may also interview you and your family members to find out more about your spending habits. In addition, the government may review your bank and credit card statements to get a detailed picture of your finances. But even that's not enough. Your government also has a national data warehouse that collects information on all of the businesses that you interact with. This database is called the Business Dynamics and Statistics Program, or BDSP. It's run by the U.S. Census Bureau, and it tracks the number of businesses that are started and closed each year. The BDSP collects data on a variety of business-related activities, including hiring, firing, and the number of hours worked. This information is used to compile a variety of reports on the state of the economy, such as the Monthly Business Outlook and the Quarterly Business Survey. And if all of this wasn't enough, your government also has a Social Security Administration that keeps track of your earnings and benefits. This agency is responsible for collecting Social Security taxes and then distributing benefits to eligible Americans. The Social Security Administration has a database that contains information on your earnings history, including the years you worked, the amount you earned, and the taxes that were withheld from your paycheck. In addition, the Social Security Administration also keeps track of your benefits, including the amount of your monthly check and when it will arrive. That means that there are at least 4 entities tracking your financial activity: the IRS, the CES, the BDSP, and the Social Security Administration. And when you combine the data from these 4 agencies, it creates an incredibly detailed picture of your financial life. You might be wondering why the government needs so much information about your finances. After all, you pay your taxes and follow the law, so why do they need to keep tabs on you? Well, it's probably not what you think. The truth is that the government doesn't actually use this information to track your every move. Instead, they use it to compile statistics and reports that are used by policymakers to make decisions about the economy. For example, the government might use information about your spending habits to get a sense of how the overall economy is doing. Are people spending a lot of money? That could be a sign that the economy is strong. Or are they cutting back on their spending? That could be a sign that the economy is weak. The government also uses this information to track changes in the economy over time. By comparing your spending habits today to your spending habits in the past, they can get a sense of how the economy has changed. For example, if people are spending more money on healthcare, that could be a sign that the country is getting older. However, there are some cases where the government might use information about your finances to track your every move. For example, if you're suspected of committing a crime, the government might use your financial records to build a case against you. For example, if you bought something that was stolen, then your government might use your credit card statement to track down the seller of the item. Or if you were involved in a terrorist plot, then your government might use your bank account records to trace the flow of money. So now you know what information your government has on you and how they use it. But what can you do about it? Well, thankfully, there are a few things that you can do to protect yourself. The first thing that you can do is to review your credit report. Your credit report is a detailed history of your credit worthiness. It contains information about your credit cards, loans, and other forms of debt. Reviewing your credit report is important because it gives you the opportunity to catch any errors that may be listed. These errors can negatively impact your credit score, which can make it difficult to get approved for loans or even find a job. You can get a free copy of your credit report from each of the 3 major credit bureaus once per year by visiting their websites. Once you have your credit reports in hand, you should carefully review them for any mistakes. If you find any errors, you should contact the credit bureau and the company that provided the information to the credit bureau. You should also consider placing a security freeze on your credit reports. A security freeze, also known as a credit freeze, prevents you from opening accounts in your name. This can help protect you from identity theft and other forms of fraud. To place a security freeze on your credit reports, you'll need to contact the credit bureaus directly. Second, you can limit the amount of personal information that you share. Whenever you apply for a loan or open a new credit card, you'll need to provide personal information such as your social security number, your home address, and your date of birth. However, there are some situations where you may be able to get away with providing less information. For example, if you're applying for a loan to buy a house, the lender will likely want to see your social security number. But if you're applying for a loan to buy a car, you may be able to get approved with just your driver's license number. Finally, you can delete your internet history. Every time you log onto the internet, your internet service provider, ISP, keeps track of your browsing history. This includes the websites that you visit, the emails that you send and receive, and even the online purchases that you make. Your ISP uses this information to provide you with better service and to tailor ads to your interests. However, if you're concerned about privacy, you can clear your browsing history on a regular basis. Most web browsers make it easy to clear your browsing history with just a few clicks of the mouse. There you have it, a comprehensive guide to what your government knows about you. Hopefully this information has empowered you to take control of your privacy and take the necessary steps to protect yourself. Remember, knowledge is power, and with great power comes great responsibility. Use this information wisely and don't forget to stay vigilant. And thanks for watching another Duel of Concepts presentation.